Once upon a time, there was a teeny tiny woman who lived in a teeny tiny house in a teeny tiny town. One day, she walked down the teeny tiny road till she came to a teeny tiny gate. She opened it and went into a church graveyard. There she saw a teeny tiny grave, and on the teeny tiny grave was a teeny tiny bone. She thought, this teeny tiny bone will make a teeny tiny soup for my teeny tiny supper. So she put the teeny tiny bone in her teeny tiny apron and started home. Once there, she felt a teeny tiny bit tired. She put the teeny tiny bone in her teeny tiny cupboard and crawled into her teeny tiny bed, pulled up her teeny tiny covers, and went to sleep. Pretty soon, a teeny tiny voice said, "Give me back my bone." The teeny tiny woman was scared. But as she heard nothing more, she snuggled under her teeny tiny covers and went back to sleep. Pretty soon a voice that was a teeny tiny bit louder said, "Give me back my bone." The teeny tiny woman sat up in her teeny tiny bed, opened up her teeny tiny mouth and said, "Take it!" Would you like me to tell you another story? Pick one, and I'll take you there. Pick this for help. Once upon a time, there was a poor Jewish man named Hillel. He had a wife, a mother-in-law, and 7 children, all of them living in one room. And such a tiny room! When you stood up, you were standing on someone else's feet. When you sat down, you were sitting on someone else's tushy. When you took a bite, you were chewing someone else's food. And the noise! The children running, the wife talking, the mother-in-law complaining. Oy! Poor Hillel. He was a quiet man. He liked to read, to study. Finally, he couldn't stand it. He went to the rabbi. "Rabbi, tell me what to do. My wife, my mother-in-law, my 7 children, and I all live in one room. There's no place to sit, to stand, to walk, and the noise, oy vey." "I can help you, but you must promise to do as I say. Do you promise?" I promise, but Rabbi, help me." "My good man," said the rabbi, "do you have any animals?" "Oh, yes, Rabbi. In animals, I'm wealthy. I have a cow, goats, some ducks, some chickens." "Good. Go home and take all the animals into your house." "What, Rabbi? Are you crazy? I just told you I have." "You promised." So poor Hillel put his chickens into his house, his ducks into the house, his goat into the house, and finally, after much struggle, his cow. Life was terrible. When you stood up, the cow stood on your feet. When you sat down, you sat on someone else's eggs. The children chased the chickens and feathers flew into the soup, the water, the bread. The ducks waddled all over the table. The goat ate Hillel's books, the children's clothes, the wife's best dress, a shawl, and some firewood. And the noise! Oy vey! The quacking, the cackling, the mooing, the bleating, the crying, the laughter, the shouts, the complaining, and the quarreling. Finally, the poor man could stand it no more. "The rabbi must be crazy," he said to himself. "I know I promised, but I promised a crazy man. I'll go see him. Rabbi, my life is terrible. The clucking, the screaming, the mooing, the complaining, oy vey." "So, I will help you," said the rabbi. "Go home, take the animals out of your house." Hillel shooed the ducks, the chickens, the cow, and the goats out of his house. That night, everything was quiet. The only sounds were his children arguing and laughing, his wife complaining, his mother-in-law fetching. It was bliss. When you sat down, you sat on someone else's tushy. When you stood up, you stood on someone else's feet. It was perfect. The next day, Hillel returned to the rabbi. "Rabbi," said Hillel, "my life is bliss, so quiet, so peaceful, and my house is so large. I never noticed it before." "There, you see," said the rabbi, "it could always be worse." Would you like me to tell you another story? Pick one, and I'll take you there. Pick this for help.